Hello, welcome to Creativity Boost Podcast. Today I have on the show George Dubec, and we're going to be talking about how to build your net worth and your network. Before we begin this conversation, I'm going to pass it over to George so that he can tell us a bit about himself as we get this conversation started. Hi, George. How you doing? Do
Hey,
you want to
pretty
tell us a
good,
bit
pretty
about
good.
yourself?
Yeah, I'm excited
Yeah.
to be on your show today and to provide some really good, strong information and ideas to help people be successful in business and in life too.
Yeah,
And
so tell us a bit about yourself as we get this started.
okay, I've been around a long time. I mean, I just
Hmm.
turned 78 years old, so I've been networking and in business for over 50 years. I started as an executive at General Motors in Ohio. I worked there for 18 years. I bought my job out and I moved from Ohio to South Florida and I started to become an entrepreneur and got involved in all kinds of stuff. I've had my own radio show for 13 years. I've been in movies, I've been on television. I had the largest dating service in South Florida back in the 80s. I've written books. I was a stained glass artist. I'm a professional flamenco dancer. Uh, I can, I'm a father, grandfather, great grandfather. And
Wow.
now I'm just an old man, just trying to survive.
Well, you look more than just an old man. As a matter of fact, you look 10 years younger at least.
Well,
But that's just by the way. Can you tell us a bit about your experience building a network or building your networking skills and why you believe networking is a veritable tool and an important skill that everyone should hone or have at this time?
well, networking does a couple things. Number one, it connects you with people, not only business people, family, friends. By building your network and your support group, it helps you in today's world just interact with other people. And then, of course, from a business standpoint, it's important to have a network. And I always tell people it's not only who you know, but who knows you. So you
Hmm.
have to build a database. I always tell young people when you're starting out, when you're going to college, at least in college, you should start connecting and collecting names of your friends, your students, teachers. So when you graduate college, you have all the contact information from all those people. Because once you get into business world, you're going to think back and you're going to say, geez, I wish I could get a hold of so and so. Or I remember this kid in class. I'd like to find out what he's doing now. So that's where you start. You build a database. And then as you go into business and you go in life, you keep a database of all your friends, family, neighbors, everybody you associate with so that you can refer to people anytime you need help, support, advice, tips, jobs, funding, whatever. So my favorite phrase is you can get anything in life you want by networking, by using your social network. You can get, again, jobs, you can get employees, you can get funding, you can get advice, you can get resources, you can get customers, you can get referrals, and then you can even get a date or a mate, believe it or not, by social networking.
Wow, that's interesting. Now, there's this saying that your net worth is going to be directly proportional to your net worth.
Right. All the
What do you think
motivational
about that
speakers,
phrase? Is it
all
correct?
the famous gurus, Anthony Robbins, Zig Ziglar, Brian Tracy, all those guys, they always equate the fact that you can take the five people that you spend the most time with, or make it 10 people or 15, whatever you want, whatever number. But those people usually will average your net worth. So if you're hanging out with Elon Musk and Bill Gates, okay, Mark Cuban, and those guys, what do you think your net worth would be? Pretty high up there, right? So
Yeah.
think about, who do you hang around with? Who do you talk to on a regular basis? Who do you pick up the phone and call? Those are the kind of people at the level that you're probably at. So if you want to increase your net worth, you got to start increasing the level of people that you interact with.
Okay, now you said something profound. What about those who may never be in the same room with Mark Cuban or Mark Zuckerberg or Donald Trump or some famous guy out there? And they would like to increase their net worth, but they do not have direct connection with these people. Is it safe to say that following these people on social media could get you close?
Well, you can get to what's the old phrase? Everybody's within 7 or 8 contacts or 5 contacts. You can get to anybody, but when you get to them, do you have any value to bring to them? Are they going to be interested? So, what you have to do while you're trying to raise your level of connectivity is you have to increase your own value. You got to provide a better
Hmm.
product and service. You have to make more money. You have to, you just have to be, in other words, the point being, would Mark Cuban want to talk to you once you get a chance to communicate? So
Hmm.
you have to ask yourself, what do I have to offer Mark Cuban? So it's kind of a catch 22. You have to raise your own level of success to be on the level of success.
Okay, now, so let's talk to someone who is starting from ground zero. What would be a strategy that you can propose to that person to get in the zone, to level up his game so that he can build better networks and build better net worth, and keep that cycle going till he hits climax?
Well, the easiest way for people at, let's say, at a lower level that haven't accomplished a lot to get to higher levels is to help people at a higher level. Help them. Okay, maybe you yourself don't have a product or service of value. Maybe you're not rich. But if you
Hmm.
can help somebody at a higher level, then they're gonna want to communicate with you. Okay, so figure out a way that you can help somebody at a higher level. That's an
Hmm.
easy way. Like maybe you can refer business to them. Maybe you can provide them with information that they don't have. So figure out a way that you could become helpful.
Hmm, that's interesting. Now let's talk about creativity. What's your perspective on the subject of creativity? Because on Creativity Boost podcast, I like to examine different perspectives on the subject and give people a more structured and robust understanding of the concept of creativity and how it affects their day-to-day life. So, would you like to tell us your perspective on the subject of creativity and what brought that into your awareness?
Well, I just think it's having energy and wanting to do things. Everybody, I believe, has tremendous talent. Everybody has creativity. Everybody can be innovators, but you have to have energy. Yeah, instead of watching television or going to the movies, like I work constantly. I'm 78 years old. I probably work 12, 14 hours a day. And when I say work,
Hmm.
I mean I research things, I write, I read, I think of ideas. So it's kind of like you just have to be in that mode. A lot of people, they go work 9 to 5, they come home, they turn on the television, they eat dinner, they go visit some friends, and then they go to bed. Well, how do you spawn your creativity doing that? So when you come
Hmm.
home at night, if you have a 9 to 5 job, maybe you got a hobby. Maybe you're painting or you're going to write a book or maybe you're researching something. So you have to activate the neurons in your brain. And once you do that, then the creativity and innovation just comes to everybody. Everybody can do it. But you have
Wow.
to put in the time.
So why do we have millions of people heading to their grave in droves with billion-dollar ideas literally sitting on their heads, and they never ever turn these ideas into tangible and profitable creations and solutions?
Well, that's the magic question. Everybody would like to know, how do you make something successful? And the one thing that I believe is a thing called luck. I don't think people can manufacture success. I don't think the smartest person in the world has a menu to do that. Now, everybody, to me, okay, this is my own personal theory, that's rich and famous, were lucky. They somehow were at the right place at the right time, and whatever they had to offer made them successful. Now, here's another key ingredient: it only takes one other person that believes in you to make you successful. You don't need everybody to love you. You don't need everybody to like your idea. You need the one person that could put the money behind it. And every good idea needs money. That's the other problem. In most cases, Whatever your idea is, if you don't get money to support it, it's never going to get off the ground. And in today's world, we got many more people that are founders that have business ideas. They're out looking for funding. I get involved with a lot of startups. There's thousands of startups that never get funded, but they have great ideas. They just don't meet the right person. So I hate to say this, but sometimes it's just luck. You just run into the right person at the right time.
And someone said that when you work hard and when you work at something diligently, you get to create your own luck, because when preparation meets, opportunity, then, success happens. What's your perspective on that?
Well, let's just take an example that everybody knows about. Let's take whether you like Trump and Melania Trump. Let's take Melania Trump, okay? She is the first lady of the United States, revered by many, many people. She puts her name on something that makes millions of dollars. Now, did she work hard to get there? Did she come up with ideas? Was she creative? Was she innovative? No. She was at a club and met Donald Trump. One person made her super rich and famous. One person. And she did nothing to achieve it. Nothing. Just showed up. Right? That's a perfect example. I had another friend that, you remember the show called American Gladiators?
No, I don't.
Oh, okay. Well, this was a TV show back in the late 70s and 80s. It was a series that lasted about 10 years. Well, this was a good friend of mine in Warren, Ohio. He had this idea of a show called American Gladiators. So he was trying to get money to create this show and get it going. He was at a party in California. He met Samuel Goldwyn Mayer, who did movies. Samuel Goldwyn Mayer didn't do TV shows. Anyway, they got into a conversation at a cocktail party. He wrote on a napkin his idea and his logo for American Gladiators. He showed Samuel Goldwyn Mayer. Samuel Goldwyn Mayer loved it. He gave him all the money he needed to shoot the pilot and get on national television, and it became a very successful TV show. On a napkin, meeting at a party. So it's like, wow. How many people have ideas like my friend from American Gladiator that never gets off the ground? Thousands have ideas that never go anywhere. One guy met Samuel Goldwyn Mayer at a party. He became a success. So how do you get luck? That's the question. Where do you get luck from?
Well, I think that's where, God and, believing in God helps. But let's talk about, another aspect of our conversation. And I want us to talk about the connection between networking and creativity, because it looks like you've done an extensive work around networking. What do you think? Do you think there's any connection whatsoever between being creative and networking?
Um, I wouldn't say networking is really creative. It's more like a skill. You have to develop a
Hmm.
skill. The creativity part is maybe doing things, unusual things to get attention, to get somebody's attention, or like we talked about, famous people or rich people. Like I remember a story where there was a band trying to become famous.
Hmm.
And like these record producers, they must get thousands of tapes of. Well, nowadays it's just online, but they get all these recording artists to send them their songs. Right? They get thousands of songs. Well, this was back in the day. This band took a cassette of their music and they sent a pizza to a record producer, and in the pizza was their cassette. So when the guy opened the box, he looked at the pizza and he saw the cassette. He took it out and he had a whole stack of cassettes sitting over here that he never listened to. But he took the one out of the pizza, he played it, and they got a recording contract.
Wow.
So now that's creative, right?
Yeah.
Connecting with successful people. How do you do that? Like we said, if you're not rich and famous and successful yourself, how do you get their attention? You got to be creative. You got to do something
Hmm.
different or interesting. You got to make noise. You got to shine a light. Have them look at you, So
Wow, which is really interesting. So, can you now walk me through your thought process around the impact of social media on networking? Because many years ago, you needed to be in the room with certain people before you could even know anything about them, before you could connect with them. But we live in a world right now where you're just a DM away from a famous person. You're just a LinkedIn email away from the CEO of a powerful organization. You're just a Facebook post away from being seen by someone. You're just a YouTube video away from being known by someone who could potentially do business with you or increase your own net worth. So, what do you think, being a man who has lived across different ages, who has lived across different eras, and now we live in a world of social media, what would you say the impact of social media has been on networking and building wealth?
well, I think that it opens up more doors and platforms and areas that you can communicate, but it doesn't matter how you can connect with a CEO of a company if you do it through LinkedIn. If they don't know who you are, or there's no reason that they have to communicate back, it's not going to happen. The best way, still today, with all of this technology, is a third party referral. The
Hmm.
best way to meet somebody is through somebody else. That still holds true. Doesn't matter what technology. So if you want to meet Mark Cuban and you know somebody that shines his shoes, let's say, okay, you talk to
Hmm.
that person and ask him, can you make an introduction to Mark Cuban for me? So those are the most important things that people should consider. How do I get to somebody through somebody they know? So third party referrals are still the most powerful way to meet people today.
Okay, so you do not subscribe to the fact that with the use of social networking, you can actually find your way into rooms you never would have been, based on your background, based on your current situation.
Well, yeah, the problem is that the higher up you go in the ladder of success, the more people you get inundated with, and the harder it is to look to see the forest for the trees. So again, how do you stand out? What do you do that's creative? Again, do something like I said, the cassette in the pizza box, or get a third party introduction, because they have so many people hitting them from all angles that what's going to catch their attention? That's the key. How do you get their attention? You can be in a networking room like what's that Clubhouse? You ever go on Clubhouse?
Yeah, yeah,
You can go in some rooms there that very famous people are in those rooms, right?
yeah.
But how do you get their attention? I mean, how do you get them
Mm,
to communicate back and want to call you? Just
mm,
because they're in a room doesn't mean anything.
yeah.
So
True.
again, what
And there's the saying that my business coach usually says, it says, where attention goes, intention follows, right? So you want to get their attention to make them intentional about doing business with you or even communicating with you at any level. Now, I want us to talk about your experience interviewing startups, because I'm aware that you've had the opportunity to work on, you know, initiatives that empower startup businesses or mid-level growth phase businesses. So, what do you think is the biggest challenge that makes many startup businesses fail?
Well, one of the most important things in today's world is that the people that are funding your business or potentially funding your business have to believe that you can make it work. I mean, you can have a great pitch deck, you can have an executive summary, you can have fantastic projections, you can have a great product, but if that investor doesn't believe that you can make it successful, he's not going to invest any money. So, one of the things I suggest for startups is do a good elevator pitch video. Do a 2 to 5 minute video about you and your product or service. Like, in other words, number one, what is the problem you're solving with your product or service? What's the problem people are facing? How does your product or service solve that problem? And why would people want to use that product or service? And how are you going to make it successful? What is your background? What's your experience? What is your motivation? What is your drive to make this product or service successful? And then if you have any other members of your team, you want them to be on the video too. So people are going to buy into the owners, the founders. So that's important to make a person believe that you can make this product or service successful.
Okay, so let's say you are on a panel and you have several people coming to pitch their businesses with you. They'll have beautiful elevator pitches, or let's say you're watching a series of videos, elevator pitches from different businesses. What would be the key things that would turn the pendulum for you, or that would make you swing in their direction to decide that they should be the one you invest in? Let's assume you are the decision maker on that panel.
Well, the other thing that's important is that you get in front of people that are interested in your particular category of business. Like, for example, I have a lot of people that come to me, they want to get funding for movies. Okay. Now, a guy that's an investor in real estate, is he going to be interested in movies? No, because he doesn't know about movies. He wants real estate deals. So what you have to do as a founder is figure out where can you go to be around people that would have an interest in your particular business category. Like if you're in the medical field, you need to go to medical conferences. You need to go to places where there are people in healthcare or anti-aging. Okay. If you just go to a general business event, there might be nobody there that's interested in medical devices or new medical innovations. So you want to
Hmm.
target where you go to present your product or service. That's also important.
Okay, so I've seen startup businesses that had funding, that got investors, they got angel investors, put money in their businesses, that failed. In fact, there's a lot of them. Large number of businesses fail despite the fact that they had financial backing. And so I've come to discover that sometimes having money does not solve the problem of startup failure. So what would you say is the critical ingredient that makes businesses succeed beyond just having funding? Because sometimes most people think that they have a funding problem, but they have a creativity problem, right? So what would be your perspective on that?
Well, I think you're bringing up a point about being creative to get yourself noticed by the buying public. What do you do that stands out, that makes you different than everybody else? For example, have you heard of the beverage called Liquid Death?
No, I haven't.
Okay. All right. Well, there's a million new beverages, right? If you go to
Mm-hmm.
a convenience store, there's a whole rack of
Mm-hmm.
cans of all these drinks. What's
Mm-hmm.
going to make you go buy one of those drinks, right? Either you got to spend a lot of money marketing the name, like, for example, Red Bull. Red Bull spends a fortune marketing their name. So you know what
Hmm.
Red Bull is, right?
Hmm.
You see it
Yeah, I do.
everywhere. They,
Yeah.
they're on sporting events. They're spending money all over. How about Gatorade? You familiar with Gatorade?
Yeah.
That's supposed to be a garbage drink. It's supposed to be
Hmm.
terrible. It's not even healthy for you. There's too much sugar in it. Yet they
Hmm.
bought the NFL license. If you go to any NFL football game, you see all the NFL players on the sideline drinking Gatorade in a bucket, right?
Hmm.
So they got noticed. They got attention by spending money. But Liquid Death, they stand out from the crowd because of the name, Liquid
Hmm.
Death. Now, doesn't that interest you? Like, wow, Liquid Death. What is Liquid Death? You're gonna pick it up and you're gonna look at it. You might even buy it to drink it. Like, what is this stuff? It's got a wild, crazy name, Liquid Death. So either you spend a lot of money in marketing and advertising, or you be creative and find a way to stand out from everybody else in your field or your business.
Wow, you've made an interesting point that I feel is also connected to the concept of networking or building your network or bringing people into your network, and that is marketing, that is advertising, that is building your brand so that more people are aware of who you are and what you are. So, can you tell us what your perspective is on marketing, advertising, and branding as tools to build a very strong network?
Well, number one is everybody should figure out some way to brand themselves. Like, for example, my brand is the ultimate networker. I wrote a book called Ultimate Networking. Everywhere I go, in fact, people now introduce me to others as, hey, here's George Dubec, the Ultimate Networker. So I'm
Hmm.
branding myself with that particular name. In fact, when my grandkids call me up, they don't call me grandpa anymore. If they call me grandpa, I say, no, who am I? Oh, you're the ultimate networker. Okay. So I'm branding myself even within my own family so it just sticks
Hmm.
in their head. Then the next thing is using famous people. In today's world, everybody's enamored with people on TV, the radio, sports, athletes. You know Damon Johns, right? He's on Shark
Yeah.
Tank. Okay, you
Yeah.
know how he became famous? He had a line of apparel called FUBU.
Yeah.
You know his story? He
I used to know it. I can't remember it right now, but I've read
Yeah,
about him. Yeah.
anyway, he knew a bunch of I think it was NBA athletes where he grew up. I think it was in Philadelphia. So he got
Hmm.
his athlete friends to wear his apparel. And
Hmm.
then they gave it to their friends who were in the locker room. And pretty soon everybody's wearing FUBU shirts. And
Hmm.
then the people that came to the events would look at the athletes wearing the t-shirts and they wanted those t-shirts. And he became famous by using celebrities. So that's what social influencers today. People are trying to get them to promote their product and service. Celebrities, athletes, anybody with a name is going to help your brand.
Wow. So that's branding. What about marketing? Because most times people play down on all of these different components, and so they have a very weak network. And the good thing about all of these things is that you have control over it, right? The other aspect that we talked about initially, you need popular people, you need influential people, and sometimes these things are beyond your control. You need to create value for them, whatnot. Sometimes these things are beyond your control, but when you build a brand and you have critical mass, you have a message that moves the masses because of the brand messaging that you built. It somehow forces these powerful people to take a notice of you, to give you attention, to notice you, right? So what do you have to say about marketing? How do we become better at marketing, and what is the premium that we should be placing on marketing as small business owners, or as startup businesses, or entrepreneurs who are just starting out, or creatives who are on that journey to becoming successful with their creative ideas, gifts, skills, and talent?
Well, one of the things we just talked about was using influencers, celebrities, well known people. The second thing that a lot of people are starting to notice is connect yourself with a nonprofit. Find something in your community that reverberates with everybody. Like, for example, foster children, veterans, um, different illnesses, cancer, dementia, and tie that into your product or service. Like, you're going to donate a certain amount of money to your nonprofit, and also bring the nonprofit into the fold, into your business somehow. Like, if you're selling apparel, and it's for foster kids. Say your nonprofit is foster kids. Have the foster kids wear your shirts or your caps or drink in your drink. And then show that, look, I'm connected with the nonprofit part of my community, but I have this product or service. So that's another way to enhance your marketing by connecting with something of value besides just the product or service. So that's another important area. And then the third way is, in order to get started in your community or with other people, is you want to provide the best product or service possible. Spend a lot of time on taking good care of your customers. Okay?
Hmm.
Whatever you're selling, call your customers up, send them little notes. Uh, Make sure that whatever they pay for, give them what they paid for and give them more. Create a relationship with your customers. Too many people today they sell the product and service, and then it's like, okay, here, you bought it, go away. I'm going to go get some new customers. They're constantly trying to spend a lot of money in marketing to new customers. Why don't you really, really build strong relationships with your present customers?
Absolutely, because I believe that great marketing cannot save terrible product, right? So product innovation is something very, very critical in building, strong network, strong, critical mass, strong market messaging, and everything. Everything actually starts from there. So, what would be your perspective on how to actually build a product that makes sense, that people want, that people would talk about, that makes you famous, that gets you out there, that
I mean,
increases your network?
I guess if you're going to create a product or service, whatever it is, the first thing is that you have to love it yourself. You have to feel like this item is helping somebody or helping society or helping other people or making people's lives better. So the first thing is your own personal belief in it. If you're just selling something to make money, it's probably going to fail. Don't look
Hmm.
at things like, oh, I'm going to get into this business because they make a lot of money. In other words, it's your passion, it's your creativity, it's your life's work maybe. I mean, that's the first, yeah, that's the key right there. I think if you start from that point, you're going to be more successful.
All right. So, what if people you believe in that idea, but people close to you don't believe in it? Your friends don't believe in it. Your family, your spouse, your loved one don't believe in it. Would that mean that that idea is probably not what?
That's a good question there. If nobody likes your idea, nobody believes in it.
Like
It's still
nobody close to you, right?
it's
Nobody within your inner circle,
right.
like your
Well,
friends and
the
family.
thing about it, it makes it more difficult for you personally to make it successful because you have all that negativity you have to go through. If you still
Yeah.
believe it more powerful than your family and friends,
Hmm.
then I guess you got to continue until you find what did I say earlier? That one person that believes in
That
it,
one person. Yeah.
right? And they'll put the money into it or back it or whatever. But still, no matter what, everything still winds up being somehow magical or luck. I don't know. Again, there's no formula that somebody could write a menu and say, do this, and this, and you're going to be
Yeah.
successful. We're talking about a lot of different variables,
Yeah. True.
but it still
And
winds
that's
up
why.
being lucky.
Yes, true. And that's why the best we can do is to share our experiences and help people, take what they can take from that experience and add to their own journey and see what works for them and hope that their own story turns out, to be great. So I think we really, really touched on a lot of many wonderfully important pieces in our conversation, and we are gradually winding down to a close in our conversation. So what would you like to share as a parting note for our listeners to help them in their journey in building their net worth and building their network?
Well, a couple of items that I can share with everybody is you can get anything you want in life by networking, your social network or your business network. That means you can get employees, you can get jobs, you can get funding, you can get advice, you can get resources, you can get customers, you can get referrals. And if you do social networking, you can get a date and even a mate. Okay. So you got to build your database, constantly build your
Hmm.
database of connections. Who do you know? What do they do? Put them in categories. Put attorneys, accountants, landscapers, um, people that are investors, people that are single, people that like events. Create categories and build a database of people. And then basically go out and help people connect with each other. One of the things that I do, that I network, is I help my friends connect with other friends that I think would be useful. So I call it connect the dots. You got a friend that's an attorney, and you got somebody that's a personal injury attorney, and one of your friends got injured in an accident. You connect them, put them together. So use your referral network to help other people and connect the dots there. And then when you do network for yourself, make sure you follow up and follow through. When you get business cards or you get contacts or you meet people, make sure you contact them within a day or two. Follow up with a text and email. Hey, I liked meeting you. I like your product. I like your service. Let's get together. Let's have a Zoom call. Let's have lunch. And then share how you can benefit each other.
Wow. Thank you so much, George. I think this will be a great point to bring our conversation to a close. And for you listening on the other side, I believe you found some value in our conversation. If that's the case, why not listen to this again? Share this with someone, share this with a loved one, and take action on some of the things that we've talked about because action takers are the money makers. And so I'll see you on the next episode. Till then, have a good one
Oh yeah,
and
let me just
bye
announce
bye.
let me announce my website. If they want to get in touch with me, it's theultimatenetworker.com. That's theultimatenetworker.com, and you can contact me and I'll help you.
Yeah, absolutely. Thank you, George, and thanks everyone. I'll see you on the next one. Have a good one.
All righty.
Bye.